Start. Okay. Starting it now. So people should be coming in. Okay, and they are coming in. Great. All right. Okay, so welcome everybody. We have people starting to filter in. I'm Rebecca McMurrin. I'm the principal at Grant. We're so happy you guys are joining us this evening. And we're going to begin in just a minute.
Muy buenas noches, gracias por acompañarnos. Está hablando la señora Rebecca McMurrin, ella es la directora de la escuela Grant. Estamos viendo que están entrando bastantes participantes.
Okay, we'll start in one more minute. We'll begin the presentation.
Un minuto más.
So if you have questions during the presentation, we want to invite you to type your question into the Q&A so that we'll be able to address it during. We're in this format of a webinar. We're unable to get to you if you raise your hand to ask the question. So just go ahead and type your question into the Q&A.
Tenemos preguntas y respuestas que usted puede escribir. Como estamos en un webinar, no le vamos a poder ver si está levantando la mano o no. So, por favor, si tiene alguna pregunta, escríbala en preguntas y respuestas.
Okay. Okay, so in this format, the participants who are joining us, your cameras are not enabled for the webinar, but the Q&A is on, so we won't be able to see you, but you can see us.
Nosotros, no, ustedes no van a poder vernos. No, ustedes sí nos pueden ver a nosotros, pero nosotros no le podemos ver a usted, porque estamos en un webinar.
Okay. So good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Principal Rebecca McMurrin. We are so excited to have our freshmen joining us on campus. And this evening, we're going to tell you a little bit about Grant High School. We're going to share some information with you about our athletic program, our instructional program, and just what the campus is like, since most of our freshmen have never been there. And then we'll also share some information about our safety protocols for COVID.
Muy buenas noches, mucho gusto de estar con ustedes esta noche. Esta noche vamos a compartirles algo de nuestra escuela, de nuestro programa instructivo, acerca del programa de atletismo y además a compartir medidas de seguridad que tenemos en la escuela.
Okay. So as we go along the way, we'll be answering your questions. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type them into the Q&A. We will type responses and then we'll try to incorporate the information into the verbal presentation as well.
Si usted tiene alguna pregunta, vamos a darle sus respuestas y se lo vamos a ir respondiendo a través de la presentación.
Okay. So to begin with, we want to share one of the best ways to get to know us at Grant High School and to be aware of everything. These are the topics that we're covering tonight. But one of the best ways for you to get acquainted with us is to visit our website regularly and check for announcements, and also to follow us on social media.
Una de las maneras en que usted puede conocernos un poco más es a través de nuestra página de internet. Hacemos anuncios y además de nuestras redes sociales que usted está viendo, que va a ver en un momento.
Okay, so this is my information if you want to follow me on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, you can take a picture of this and we'll share this at the end. You can follow me at Miss McMurrin. If you're on Instagram, it's Grant_Lancers. And if you're on Facebook, it's at GrantHS.
Si usted nos quiere seguir en las redes sociales, esta es nuestra información. En Twitter es @Miss McMurrin. En Instagram, Grant Lancers, y en Facebook, @GrantHS.
Thank you, Ms. Aldana. So I want to start out with some quick introductions. So again, I am Ms. McMurrin, the principal at Grant. Helping me with translations tonight is our wonderful assistant principal, Miss Marcia Aldana. This evening, she's not joining us, but she is our assistant principal. She deals with special education and so many other things, and that is Miss Danielle Bloom. Also this evening is Mr. Malikian. He is new to Grand High School, but very experienced in the district in so many different ways. And he is going to be overseeing school activities, athletics, and much, much more. And then also new to Grant High School, but also, again, not new to the district. We're so fortunate to have Ms. Sevan Urfalian joining us this year at Grant. And you'll be seeing her often. She'll be working a lot with our Parent Center and also so many more things that she doesn't even know about yet.
Ok, antes de comenzar, estamos con la señora Rebecca McMurray, que es la directora de nuestra escuela, su servidora Marcia Aldana, subdirectora de la escuela, también encargada de la seguridad y el plantel, de todas las facilidades y mucho más. También tenemos a la subdirectora Danielle Bloom. Ella es encargada del departamento de educación especial. Tenemos a nuestros nuevos subdirectores, Chris Melikian, que es subdirector, es un subdirector muy experto en muchas áreas. Él va a estar encargado de las actividades de la escuela y del programa atlético y muchas cosas más. Y la señora Sevan Urfalian, que es nuestra subdirectora también nueva, experta. Ahorita está encargada del centro de padres y muchas cosas más que todavía ella no sabe.
Okay, so there's a whole bunch of other people that would be also quite important for you to know. So if you're taking pictures of the screen, not a bad idea. We'll also put all this information on the website so you know who you need to talk to when you need help. At Grant, we have 2 full-time college counselors, Ms. Chen and Dr. Corrado. We have Ms. Laura Keene, who's one of our counselors. Ms. Karen Colway, Ms. Elba Leaños, Dr. Lopez is our pupil services and attendance counselor. Ms. Melissa Mata, our humanitas counselor, and also part of the alphabet. You'll see the last names there. And then finally, Mr. John Billifane, and also Rita Yalangisian. She is our A to G diploma program counselor.
Como verán en su pantalla, no es una mala idea que tomen una foto, pero también esta información la va a encontrar usted en nuestra página de internet. Este es el departamento de consejería. Tenemos a la señorita Cindy Chan y el señor doctor José Corrado, que son los consejeros de colegios o de universidades. También tenemos a los consejeros a Lara King, que si usted mira por las letras, ella está encargada de la A a la B y del programa de educación para segundo idioma. También la señora Colway, si mira las letras de la C a la LI, la señora Elba Leaños, que es también la consejera de Magnet, al doctor López, que es consejero de asistencia, a la señorita Mata, que es también encargada de la escuela de Magnet de Humanitas, y está encargada de la T a la Z, son apellidos de T a Z. El señor Billafane de la L o a la S, y la señorita Gelagetzian, que está encargada es consejera del programa de diploma de la A a la G.
Okay. All right, so next up, some other important people for you to know are our program coordinators. So Mr. David Sanchez oversees our School for Advanced Studies. Mr. John Minocchio, whose picture you can see, is our athletic director. Ms. Daria Miyoung, Special Education Coordinator. Our wonderful Lourdes Roman is our Title I Coordinator. She works a lot with our Parent Center. And then also Ms. Bertha Fernandez, who is in charge of our English Language Development program.
Otras personas o coordinadores que deben de conocer es para los estudios avanzados, el señor Sánchez. También tenemos aquí en nuestra pantalla al señor John Manocchio, que es el director de atletismo. a la señorita Daría Myung, que es la coordinadora de educación especial, a la señorita Lourdes Román, que es la de título 1, y la señora Berta Fernández, que es coordinadora del desarrollo del lenguaje en inglés. Yo creo que le faltó a alguien, una persona que está nueva en nuestro departamento, que es la señorita Jessica Chávez, que ella es va a ser coordinadora del programa restaurativo para los estudiantes que necesitan apoyo en algunas de las áreas en disciplina.
Thank you so much for mentioning that, Ms. Aldana. I forgot. I left off our wonderful Miss Jessica Chavez, who is going to be working. Her title, I forget what it is all the time, but she's the school climate advisor. But what that means is she's going to be working, as Ms. Aldana said, with the students that just need a little extra help, a little extra support in establishing restorative justice practices and helping students feel comfortable on campus. Okay. So these people are also extremely important. And I know we're spending a lot of time on introductions, but it's a new school. And unlike middle school, we have a lot of staff. So the good thing for you as parents is you have a lot of different people to go to, many, many resources. So in our main office, one of the ladies in there is Nareda Canales. She's the office manager, and she can always help direct you and get you where you need to go. We do have a full-time school nurse on campus 5 days a week, Miss Stephanie Wasserman. And we actually have two deans. One of them is listed here, Mr. Devin Ellison.
También tenemos a la señorita Nereida Canales, que es la manejadora de la oficina central. Tenemos a la señora Wasserman, Stephanie Wasserman, que es nuestra enfermera escolar. Y también tenemos dos deans que ahorita solo estamos mencionando al señor Ellison.
Thank you so much. So almost done with the introductions. If my screen will change. So you might be wondering, if you're new to Grant, what are some of the different ways parents can get involved? So I already mentioned Ms. Lourdes Roman to you. We have two parent center reps. One is Rosario Garcia and the other is Jasmine Sahakian. Both of them are in the parent center. They're there every single day of the week, and you can always find them and have them available to answer questions, help you. They work with our parent workshops, and they will help you with the LAUSD parent portal and everything you can think of. They will be your go-to people where you can get started. Also, we would invite parents to join some of our committees, such as our school site committee. We'll be announcing and for our school site committee, which we abbreviate SSC, and also ELAC, which is our English Learner Advisory Council. So those are some of the different ways you can get involved.
¿Cómo usted se puede involucrar en la escuela? Como se ha mencionado antes, tenemos a la coordinadora, la señora Román, que está encargada del título 1. También tenemos a dos representantes de padres, la señora Rosario García y la señorita Yasmín Sahakian, que están en el centro de padres. Además tenemos algunos comités como el comité escolar de la escuela y también el comité de aprendizajes del lenguaje de inglés para que usted pueda involucrarse en las cosas escolares académicas.
Wonderful. Okay, so on the most important thing I can say to you is returning to campus. We are offering full-time in-person instruction 5 days a week. All students must have a negative COVID test dated August 3rd or after, or they will not be admitted onto campus. I cannot emphasize this enough. We had about 800 students come yesterday to get tested. We had about 300 students come and get tested last week. That means we still have several hundred more that need to get tested. So if you go to dailypass.lausd.net, you can make an appointment. Just earlier today, they added additional sites. There's like 5 additional school sites where they're going to be offering tests this weekend. and they extended the hours. So you can make an appointment at one of the sites, or else you can go to Romer Middle School and they are testing, and you don't need an appointment to go to Romer. You could just walk in.
Para regresar a la escuela hay protocolos que hay que tener que seguir. Vamos a empezar la instrucción en persona los 5 días a la semana. Los estudiantes deben de tener un test negativo fechado agosto 3 o no más tarde de agosto 16. No le podemos enfatizar aún más que los estudiantes deben de tener el test, de lo contrario no serán aceptados a la escuela. Hasta ahorita hemos recibido como 1,100 estudiantes que han tenido el examen ya, pero todavía nos faltan 700. Han añadido 5 lugares más donde usted puede llevar a su hijo, pero si no sabe en otro lugar, también tenemos la escuela intermedia Roy Romer, que también puede llegar sin tener una cita para poder tener su examen.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So next, face masks are required for all students and staff. That's non-negotiable. If your student has an IEP or a medical condition, then you would need to let us know in advance so we know what kind of accommodations we can make. Okay, so we'll let the team decide what accommodations need to be made. Vaccinated staff and students, even though like I am fully vaccinated at this time due to the increased COVID rate, all students and employees still need to test. Okay, so there's a change on here on number 4 from when we created this slide. Okay, LAUSD is supplying appointments for people to get vaccinated as well, but at this time, vaccination is not required. It's just encouraged. But ongoing weekly COVID testing will happen, and there's a parent consent form that you can sign, and the student can get COVID tested right at school.
Okay.
Oops, sorry, I'll go back. Sorry.
Le enfatizamos que los estudiantes tienen que ponerse las máscaras y los estudiantes y el personal y los visitantes, y eso no es negociable. También tenemos que no es mandado ahorita que los estudiantes tengan la vacuna, pero si tienen que estarse chequeando o examinándose para el COVID eventualmente casi todas las semanas, para saber que ellos no están teniendo el virus, especialmente que ahorita está aumentando un poquito más.
Okay.
Y el distrito escolar está también dando más citas para que usted pueda vacunar a su niño.
Okay. So again, if you have not been COVID tested yet, you can schedule an appointment at dailypass.lausd.net. If you get tested at Romer or any LAUSD site, you don't need to do anything else. That test result will be uploaded automatically to the system. If you choose not to get tested at an LAUSD site, you can submit external results. So again, just go to dailypass.lausd.net, and then you need to upload like a picture or proof of your external results.
Si usted se ha tomado la prueba, lo podemos ver en el site que tenemos que se llama dailypass.lausd.net. Si usted lo toma en el distrito, no se tiene que preocupar, nosotros vamos a recibir una copia, pero si no, tiene usted que poner una foto en el mismo dailypass.lausd.net para que puedan obtener la copia y sepamos que su hijo ha sido examinado del COVID.
Okay, so let's see. I'm going to move on to next. Whoops, okay, I'm having some technical glitches here. Okay, so these are some COVID testing sites, and we already kind of mentioned these. We'll have them available. There's a lot of info to get through. So I will project it, and then later you can take a picture of this, but we'll share this later. So I already told you that Pacoima Middle School and Romer are the closest sites for us.
Le hemos indicado de los áreas donde puede ir a examinarse. Los más cercanos son Pacoima y Roy Romer. Más tarde les vamos a poner esta página otra vez para que usted le pueda tomar una foto.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so when students come back to campus, one of the things that I want to mention is that, okay, I don't know if you can still, I'm having issues again. Can you still see my screen? Miss Aldana, can you still see my PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But is it on the wrong slide?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to show a different way because I was having some technical glitches. I apologize over here. So I'm just going to show it a little bit differently.
Estaba teniendo algunas dificultades y lo va a enseñar de una manera diferente.
Okay, so what I wanted to share was that we will have 4 entrance points for students. You can come in at the Oxnard gate at the front of the school, on the Ethel gate that is on the west side of campus. You can come in on Lancer Lane North near the 100 building, and then students can come in on Lancer Lane at the south part near student parking and near the 700 building.
Ok, te vamos a tener 4 entradas. Tenemos el portón que está colocado en la Oxnard, en la calle Oxnard. También tenemos otro portón que está en la Ethel y otro que tenemos cerca del edificio 100 y el otro que tenemos cerca del edificio 700. Por todas esas entradas pueden entrar los estudiantes a la escuela.
This next part is really important. Obviously, if you came on COVID testing last week, you could see how quickly those lines build up. All students have to have a current daily pass. The daily pass will give you a new date for each day. So it needs to be with that date. But we strongly, strongly recommend that you take a screenshot on your cell phone before you leave your house, because it'll just make things so much faster. That way, if you're there and you're logging in and typing in all your information and doing the health screening questions, it's just so much faster if you're not doing that while you're standing in line. That way, if you have the daily pass already on your phone, you'll be able to just get inside that much quicker.
Los estudiantes deben de traer consigo un pase diario en su teléfono. Para los que no tienen teléfono, tienen que traer una hoja o nada más tomar una foto. Les recomendamos que lo haga en casa para que sea más rápida la entrada y no tengan que estar teniendo dificultades en agarrar el pase diario. Todos los estudiantes lo tienen que traer antes de venir a la escuela para evitar tardanzas.
Okay. Now, there's a lot of questions, and we can spend more time on some of the COVID precautions, and I'll come back to them because I want to make sure that we introduce more about Grant than just COVID safety. COVID safety is extremely important, but I'm gonna come back to some of the COVID safety points. But just to go through some of the questions people are asking, if you tested at the district sites, it uploads automatically no matter what the site is. We do have an isolation area if we learn through the school day that somebody in a classroom, all of a sudden we just got a positive test result. We do have protocols that we follow. We have a COVID compliance team at the school. The nurse is on it, I am on it, Ms. Aldana is on it, some teachers and others are on it. And that is so that we make sure that we're following all of our guidelines to help keep us in check. Okay, so there are. Go ahead.
Tenemos importantes preguntas acerca del COVID, pero también tenemos que introducir más referente a Grant. Pero le queremos enfatizar que si usted se ha examinado a su niño en el distrito, en un lugar del distrito, automáticamente vamos a tener el examen a nosotros. Los protocolos para el COVID, tenemos un grupo para cumplir todas las todas lo requerido que el distrito está pidiendo para la seguridad de sus estudiantes.
So a parent is asking, what happens if there's a COVID case in a classroom? Will the students in the class be quarantined or will they continue to come to school? So the district has a group called the Community Engagement Team, and they're in charge of contact tracing. So if you test positive, they will call you, they will interview you, and they will also work with the school to determine what kind of quarantining needs to be involved.
Sí, hay una pregunta que si hay alguien en la clase que ha sido infectado, el distrito tiene un grupo de comunidad que va a hacer, que le va a contactar a usted y le va a hacer varias preguntas y dependiendo de las preguntas que haga y usted que lo que responda, así va a ser cuánto tiempo va a ser aislado de la escuela.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so again, I'm going to come back to COVID safety, but I want to share some of the other stuff about Grant High School, and then we'll return to COVID safety, okay?
Y vamos a continuar y después vamos a seguir con las preguntas de la seguridad del COVID.
So one of the big questions people keep asking, because they've seen some of our construction, are there any buildings left? So I'm happy to say we still have buildings left, even though we have had a lot of demolition. These are a few of the pictures of what the campus is going to look like afterward. We will have a brand new library, a brand new career center, a brand new performing arts space, and classroom buildings that are really high tech and up to date classrooms. We're really, really excited about how it's all going to look as it comes together.
Ok, algunas preguntas que si tenemos todavía algunos edificios de antes, sí, todavía tenemos algunos edificios, pero los nuevos que vamos a tener es la biblioteca, tenemos un centro para carreras, también un centro para las artes, artes artísticas y también tenemos clases que van a tener con una tecnología avanzada para mejorar la académica de nuestros estudiantes.
So now I'm going to talk a little bit about Grant's 4x4 program, because this is something new to Grant and new to many of the other schools.
Vamos a hablar acerca del programa 4x4, que es algo nuevo para Grant y es algo nuevo para todos los estudiantes.
Okay. So what is a 4x4? What does that even mean? So in a 4x4, it's a little bit different. Students will only have 4 classes at a time. And instead of having 2 semesters, we have 4 semesters. So 4 quarters and 4 classes at a time.
Ok, ¿qué significa el tener escuela de 4x4? En lugar de tener 2 semestres, vamos a tener 4 cuartetos. 4 clases en cada cuarteto de 88 minutos cada clase.
Okay, so what is a 4x4, right? One of the reasons we're doing it is because with only 4 classes at a time, students only have 4 classes that they're going to interact with kids. So that's something that we're all thinking about as we think about COVID exposure. In addition, the students have longer periods. Instead of only 60 minutes, they have longer periods of 90 minutes, more or less, so that they have more time for in-depth activities, science experiments, more assistance in math and writing, whatever it is they're doing. In a traditional year, students would earn up to 60 credits a year. So with the 4x4, they can earn up to 80 credits. So that makes them have more ability to have a kind of a developed or a robust transcript that looks really great for college applications. It provides a pathway for acceleration for math students and gives other opportunities to help English learners stay on track. It allows us to give kids more college classes, but really, really important, with only 4 classes at a time, not only is it limiting the COVID exposure issue, but for long term, it's fewer classes for a student every day and in the quarter, so they can really focus on the lessons that they're learning. So instead of having 6 classes, they're only worrying about 4 classes at a time. Just makes it a little bit simpler for focusing.
Son las ventajas del 4x4, es menos interactuar con los estudiantes. En lugar de tener 6 clases, van a tener solamente 4. Los periodos van a ser un poco más largos, pero eso significa que van a tener más actividades robustas, más a tiempo para poder concentrarse en las clases académicas. Los estudiantes, en lugar de agarrar 60 créditos, van a agarrar 80 créditos, y que se mira muy bien para las aplicaciones de las universidades. Y también van a tener, eso significa que van a tener menos clases en el día.
Uh-oh, I muted. Well, let's talk about what the schedule looks like for students. So we start at 8:30 a.m. Period 1 is a little bit longer. We don't have advisory, we don't have homeroom, but period 1 is a little longer for things like breakfast in the classroom and announcements and things like that. Although I want to just mention this year, there is no breakfast in the classroom. Because of COVID safety precautions, no students will be eating inside classrooms. However, we'll be passing out food in the afternoon that can be used for breakfast the next day. And also the cafeteria will provide a snack for students.
Ok, este es nuestro horario regular de todos los días. El primer periodo, como miran, tiene un poquito más de minutos porque los estudiantes reciben información, también recibían su desayuno en la clase, pero como ahorita ustedes saben, no pueden comer adentro de las clases, entonces los estudiantes van a agarrar su comida antes que se vayan en la tarde, para que ellos puedan tener algo de desayunar en la mañana.
Okay, so student dismissal is at 3:26 on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Please notice that on Tuesdays, student dismissal is at 2:30.
Okay, si miran todos los días, lunes, miércoles, jueves y viernes, los estudiantes saldrán de la escuela a las 3:26, pero los martes van a salir a las 2:30 de la tarde.
So, and with the 4x4, then instead of getting 2 report cards a year, students actually are getting 4 report cards a year, right? Because 1 for each quarter. So in essence, it's like having 4 mini semesters, but we call them quarters, okay? So they would have potentially final exams or whatever at the end of each quarter. So again, just to go back to what is that student schedule gonna look like? In the 9th grade, which is, I think, everybody here, all of our students will have English all year long. Coming out of COVID, we feel it's very, very important for all of our students to have year-long English and year-long math. So you would see that. Now, these are examples. It wouldn't necessarily be, you know, in this order, but all students 9th grade will have year-long English and year-long math. They will have PE throughout the year as well. And some of our PE classes, if you have seen your schedule already, you'll have like 2, it looks like 2 PE classes. We'll explain that more when we get to it. It's a little confusing for right now. Interactions is science. It's a science class, so you would have science for half of the year. And then the other half of the year, you might have a health class, or you might have Spanish 1, or you might have French 1, or a CTE or other electives.
Como mirarán, antes recibían solo 2 reportes porque eran semestres, pero como ahora vamos a tener cuartetos, van a recibir 4 reportes de calificaciones. Si ustedes ven en la pantalla, los del 9º grado van a recibir inglés todo el año y también matemáticas todo el año. También van a recibir física y también tal vez ciencias. Va a ser mitad de año, pueden recibir en el otro mitad de año una clase de electiva, ya sea salud o francés. Depende cuál esté disponible para el estudiante en ese cuarteto que van a recibir.
Okay, so if you've already seen your schedule, I get it. We're getting a lot of questions about changing your schedule. Tomorrow, we're distributing preview copies of the schedule. and the counselors are available tomorrow. So if you have a question about your schedule or requesting a change, you'll be able to come tomorrow to pick up your schedule, pick up your textbooks, pick up your Chromebook, if you need a grant Chromebook, and the counselors will be available during that period.
Como veo en la pantalla, hay algunas preguntas acerca de cambiar el horario de clase o las clases. Mañana van a tener la oportunidad de venir a recoger los libros, una copia de sus clases, una computadora, y lo que el uniforme de física o algo que necesiten los estudiantes para que puedan empezar el año escolar.
Okay, so here are some important dates for you. So the first day of school we mentioned already is August 16th, and then the first quarter ends October 18th. We do have Thanksgiving break, we have our regular winter break, quarter 3 is in January, quarter 4 is in March, and our week-long spring break. I want you to note these dates because please do not plan family vacations during the times when we do have school, because with everything going on and after a full year of distance learning, it is important for students to be back in the classrooms learning.
Si ustedes miran, estamos ofreciéndoles el calendario instructivo. El primer día es el lunes, agosto 16. Al primer día del segundo cuarteto es octubre 18. Tenemos el receso de Thanksgiving, de la acción de gracias. También el receso de winter, y como le enfatizamos, nosotros y a los estudiantes ya han estado afuera de la escuela por mucho tiempo y les enfatizamos que por favor no planeen viajes durante el tiempo que tienen que venir a clases.
Okay. So quickly, I know it sounds crazy to talk about graduation requirements when you're just starting high school, but it is important so you know why we give you the classes that we give you, and we know that you're on a pathway for success, okay? High school is not like middle school. You do have to pass your classes in order to move up through the grades and in order to make progress to graduation.
Okay, vamos a hablar algunos de los requisitos de graduación y van a decir, wow, si apenas estamos empezando a la escuela, pero la high school no es igual que la intermedia. Les tenemos que dar un camino al éxito. Tienen que pasar sus clases para que ustedes puedan progresar a las siguientes clases.
Okay. So we call them A to G requirements. So in order to graduate from high school, you need a D or better in all of these. But we hope that all of our students are working towards college admission. And in that case, you need a minimum of a C or better to be eligible for most colleges. So A is history or your social sciences. You need 3 years. B is English, 4 years of English, 3 years of math. You need 2 years of laboratory sciences as a minimum, 2 years of language other than English. So at Grant, we offer Spanish and French. You need 1 year of what we call a VPA, which is a visual or performing arts elective, like band or art or theater. And then last but not least, you need the G, which is a college prep elective. And that can be something like journalism, or it might be something like a forensic science class, but it's any college prep elective. Certain electives are called G electives.
Ok, los requisitos les llamamos de la A a la G. Estamos esperando que los estudiantes para recibir el diploma de high school solo necesitan agarrar clases, pasar sus clases con una D o una C, pero para aquellos que sí van a ir a la universidad, que eso es nuestra meta, que vayan a la universidad, tienen que tener 3 años de ciencias sociales, 4 años de inglés, 3 de matemáticas, 2 de laboratorio en ciencias, 2 años de lenguaje o otro que nosotros ofrecemos español y francés, y también uno que sea lectivo, ya sea banda, arte o teatro. También tenemos, tienen que tomar 1 año de de preparación para la universidad, que sería un ejemplo, una clase de periodismo o diario, y también alguna de ciencias en forense.
Okay. So let's see then. There are a few other graduation requirements, and those are things like PE. You'll need 2 years of PE, 20 credits. You need health. You'll need a service learning project. Most of our students take care of that their junior year. A career pathway selection, you'll work on that with your counselors. And then by the end, you need a total of at least 210 credits.
Hay algunos otros requisitos que tienen que pasar los estudiantes. Por ejemplo, los 2 años de educación física, un semestre de salud. En el grado 11 tienen que tener un proyecto de aprendizaje, y también una carrera de selección que tienen que trabajar con sus consejeros y tener 200 créditos totalmente para poder graduarse.
So these are all kind of things that we'll talk about on an ongoing basis during your time at Grant High School, but we just want to introduce them to you early so you start getting familiar with the terms like A to G requirements. Now you know what we'll be talking about. Okay.
También vamos a darles otros requisitos que los estudiantes tienen que tener, pero vamos a hablar con ellos más en detalle cuando puedan hablar con sus consejeros.
Okay, so now I am going to let Ms. Aldana talk about our expectations for students.
Okay, the expectations for our students, we need them to be on time every single day. We need them to be respectful, responsible, and we need them to be safe. This year, we are going to be checking, we've been checking all these years with their electronics. They're gonna have a computer that they're gonna be bringing every single day, because we're not gonna be sharing any electronic devices in the classroom. So we emphasize that your students bring their computers every single day. Their cell phones need to be off unless the teacher is requiring an assignment. Otherwise, if they are disturbing the class by using their cell phone, the teacher can confiscate it and they can send it to the dean's office, and the parent can pick it up on Fridays only. There is 0 tolerance on fighting, so no fights. We're not expecting the students to wear hats, only Grant hats and Grant beanies only. We have 0 tolerance on drug. We are a drug-free zone. So if we see students bringing vapes, cigars, any electronic drug, we'll be confiscating it, and we're gonna ask the parents to come and pick them up. The dress code, clothing and accessories that are considered distracting and unsafe to the instructional program are unacceptable. And we are asking that the students wear closed-toe shoes only. The reason is because we are under construction, and we need to make sure that our students are safe. We're not expecting the students to wear any sliders or sandals. They're expected to wear something closed-toe shoes. The ladies, please make sure that you're wearing your t-shirts. We don't want you to be exposing your body, because that's gonna be it will be a distracting time for our instructional program. So we are expecting you to wear something appropriate to school. So lo que estoy diciendo es de que las expectativas de los estudiantes que tienen que estar en la escuela a tiempo, ser respetuosos, ser responsables, estar seguros, no tienen que traer otros electrónicos a la escuela, a menos que traigan su computadora. Si traen juegos, o si tienen encendidos los celulares y están no están poniendo atención y los maestros se los quitan, lo van a traer a la oficina del decano y se lo vamos a dar hasta el viernes y el padre lo tiene que venir a recoger. Sombreros solo van a ser los de los que tienen un logo de grant y solamente esos pueden ellos utilizar. Tenemos una cero tolerancia de que estén peleando. También somos una área que no permitimos que los estudiantes fumen adentro del plantel. Si los encontramos con algo electrónico, se los vamos a quitar y el padre tiene que venir a la escuela a recogerlo porque no sabemos qué sustancia está tomando el estudiante. El código de vestimenta, no traían accesorios o cosas o ropa que sea de una distracción para el programa académico. Todo eso es inaceptable. Si usted no revisa a su estudiante cómo viene a la escuela, le vamos a llamar, le vamos a ofrecer, si es que tenemos una blusa o algo para que no, se cambie el estudiante, y si no tenemos, pues va a tener usted que venir a recoger a su estudiante. Además, el primer día de clases vamos a mandarles a los estudiantes todas las normas del comportamiento estudiantil y lo van a recibir vía Schoology. Los estudiantes saben a qué programa lo vamos a mandar y ahí van a leer todas las normas del comportamiento del estudiante. The first day of class, we will be sending the standards of student behavior. The students are responsible for knowing and obeying all school rules and regulations. So, los estudiantes son responsables de saber y obedecer todas las reglas y regulaciones escolares. Además, vamos a tener un fire drill que le llamamos en inglés. Es nada más una práctica por si hay un fuego el viernes, la primera semana de escolar, porque el distrito lo pide. The first week of classes, we will be having a fire drill. It's required by LAUSD, and it will take place on Friday, the first week of Friday, the first Friday of the week.
Okay. So I'm going to skip through this next information pretty quickly because we are running a little long on time, and I know people don't want to spend their entire evening with us. I'll just leave it at this. By now, you have heard of the LAUSD Parent Portal and you know about Schoology. We do have people there on campus tomorrow to assist you if you need to sign up for Parent Portal, and we encourage you to drop by so we can help you in person. It's a little bit tricky, so if you come in person, we can help you a lot more easily.
Tenemos el portal de los padres. Es un poquito que tiene que trabajar un poquito en cómo obtener ese portal, pero si viene mañana le podemos enseñar cómo usarlo.
Okay, so I'm going to skip ahead, and I'm going to, again, I already introduced you earlier to our wonderful Ms. Erfalian, and I'm going to let her talk a little bit about attendance.
Vamos a introducir vamos a hablar acerca de la política de asistencia. La señora Sevan Erfalian nos va a dar información.
Thank you, Ms. Aldana and Ms. McCurran. Ms. McCurran, good evening, everyone. I'm so excited to join the Grant Lancer team. I would like to talk to you a little bit about the importance of attendance. So, research has shown that there's a strong correlation between attendance on a regular basis and success in academics, in school, and college acceptance, and especially real life. So good attendance provides us with lifelong positive habits, and it helps improve our social and life skills. So students, you should arrive at school at 8:15 because you should be in seat doing instruction at 8:30. Parents, you are legally responsible to ensure students are in school every day and on time. Please follow up with school if you receive an automated call saying your child is absent when they're not, or if they are, then you need to send a note to school with a date and reason for the absence. And make sure you're familiar with the school calendar, because you don't want to plan any important activities around times where school is in session. Next slide, please.
Ok, las políticas de asistencia, es importante saber que el hábito de venir a la escuela a tiempo es importante, no solamente para la escuela, pero para la vida personal. Los estudiantes deben de llegar a la escuela a las 8:15, porque la clase empieza a las 8:30. Los padres son legalmente responsables de asegurarse que los estudiantes vengan a la clase a tiempo. Y si usted recibe una llamada automática, ya sea de ausencia o tarde, por favor, llame a la escuela para saber si su hijo en realidad ha estado ausente. Y si sí está ausente, por favor, mande una nota a la escuela diciéndonos por qué el estudiante estuvo ausente o tarde. También tiene que tener información acerca del calendario y mirar nuestra página de internet para saber los días que usted puede viajar y los días que tienen que estudiar, que los estudiantes tienen que estar en la escuela.
Next slide, please. Okay, so parents, you can help your kids by promoting good eating and sleeping habits, making sure that you establish routines every evening, and making sure that you don't schedule non-emergency doctor visits during school time. It's really important that you talk to your students positively about school. Say good things about school, because it makes all the difference. Make school a priority. And keep in touch with the counselor and Schoology. It is your right to know where your child is in their assignments, where they're missing assignments, how they are doing. And please follow all COVID safety guidelines so students will not be absent. So when a student returns from an absence, make sure you send a note with the students about the reason for the absence. All absences have to be cleared within 10 days of the absence. And emergency cards, very, very important, need to be correct, accurate, because in case of an emergency, we have no way of contacting you and getting possible treatment, hospitalization. Very, very important that you give us that information, and early in the year.
Ok, acerca de la política de asistencias, también usted tiene que crear rutinas para que los estudiantes vengan a la escuela diariamente, hágalo una prioridad, hable de lo importante y lo positivo que es venir a la escuela, manténgase en contacto con el consejero, también siga las guías para seguridad para lo del COVID, también mande razones o una carta por la razón que ha estado su hijo ausente o tarde, antes de 10 días, y si lo manda el segundo día que su hijo regresa a la escuela, mucho que mejor. La tarjeta de emergencia es muy importante. Si algo pasa, necesitamos tener un contacto directo con usted para decirle cualquier emergencia que esté pasando en la escuela acerca de su estudiante.
And one other thing, if you change an address or a phone number, contact the school or change it on the parent portal. Really, really important.
Alguna otra cosa es de que si usted cambia su número de teléfono o cambia su dirección, por favor, cámbielo en el portal de padres, que será más rápido, y necesitamos tener esa información actual.
Next slide, please.
That's it for attendance. So now Mr. Malikian is going to talk about athletics.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mr. Malikian. I'm one of the new assistant principals, and humbled and happy to serve the Grant community. I will talk briefly because I know the time is of essence. So there are lots of questions about the tryouts. The coaches will communicate with you once you come the first day, the first And the second days, you will get the information about different teams that we have during fall, winter. I will briefly cover fall sports, winter sports, spring sports right now. But the most important thing I want to emphasize, underscore, that to be eligible to compete on any team that is active on Lancer, on our school, in our school rather, you must maintain a 2.0 grade point average.
Ok, soy el señor Melikian y estoy muy agradecido, humildemente feliz de estar aquí con ustedes. Soy su director nuevo. Voy a hablar brevemente acerca de del atletismo y los entrenadores le van a comunicar con usted acerca de todos los deportes que hay aquí en la escuela Grant. Y también, pero lo más importante es que para competir, a su estudiante tiene que tener un cálculo de calificaciones de 2.0 o más.
Thank you. So we divided the activities, sport activities, into 3 seasons. You see it on your screen. It's fall sports. That includes football, cross country, basketball, girls volleyball, girls tennis, and cheer team.
Ok, como viene usted en la pantalla, hemos dividido los deportes en 3 secciones. Tenemos los deportes de otoño, de invierno y de verano.
And winter sports have basketball, soccer, wrestling, and cheer. And the spring sports include track, tennis, baseball, softball, swimming, volleyball, and competitive cheer.
So, como ustedes mirarán, tenemos fútbol, tenemos para correr, básquetbol, voleibol, tenis, nuestras de cheer. También tenemos para los que les gusta el wrestling, se me va la palabra ahorita en español, los que les gusta luchar. También de spring tenemos para correr, tenis, también tenemos el béisbol, el softball que es para las niñas, tenemos natación, voleibol, y todo es competitivo, y también de las niñas las porristas.
And lastly, students participating in high school athletics are more connected to school and community life, which results in better academic results and engagement at school.
Y los estudiantes están conectados con deportes, hacen mejores en sus clases y están más conectados a lo de la vida diaria y son personas que superan más en lo académico.
I believe that is it for my slide.
That's it. Yeah, I'm going to talk now about the after school program where we have had a lot of questions. There is a question though I do want to read out, and someone is asking, how do you sign up for a sport? So Mr. Melikian, how should they sign up for a sport?
Okay, so for after school program, please, let's see. Let's go to the next slide, please. So one more slide. One more.
That's all the only slides I have for athletics.
Okay, okay, so let me go to my.
So I would recommend this. If you go to the grant website, which is granths.org, you can click on the tab that says athletics, and listed under that tab are all the coaches for each sport. And that is going to be the easiest way to figure out who you need to contact for a different sport tryout. Alternately, you can contact Mr. Minocchio, our athletic director, and he will be a point person for you. Finally, if you still can't figure it out, you're always welcome to email Mr. Melikian or me as well.
Fantastic. And I'm also posting.
Para entrar en los deportes, para hacerlo más fácil, puede usted mirar en nuestra página en la granths.org. Sería lo más fácil, mirar el nombre del entrenador y entrar en el deporte que usted quiere a su niño. Si no puede, porque o no recibe ninguna respuesta, puede contactarse con el señor Manocchio, que él es el que está encargado también del programa de atletismo, adjunto con el señor Melikian. Y si no, sería la señora McMurray.
I also posted in the chat the person responsible for the after school program. Her name is Catherine Anderson. She is the site coordinator. Her email is in the chat.
También puede contactar a la señora Catherine Anderson. En el chat pusieron el link donde usted puede contactarse con ella.
Okay, so our after school program, for those of you who have been asking, we have a lot of different clubs and after school groups that students can be involved in. Our after school program does go until 6:00 p.m. We're providing supervision until 6. There's all kinds of activities that ARC offers, like culinary arts clubs, driver's ed. There's different like rock climbing on Saturdays. They have a lot of different options for students. There's homework club, there's free tutoring, so many more things. So I'm going to give you Catherine's email in just a moment, and you will be able to email Catherine if you're interested in being part of the ARC program. It does require parent permission slip be signed, and we will have those applications available if you after you go to the textbook office. The next stop right there are the ARC applications.
El programa después de escuela, tenemos diferentes grupos o clubs que usted puede inscribir a su estudiante. Tenemos diferentes actividades como el de cocinar, como el de manejar, como el de subir a las rocas, diferentes opciones como tutoría que le ayuden a hacer la tarea. La señora McMurray va a poner el correo electrónico de la señora Anderson, encargada del programa después de escuela.
So just to clarify, because a couple questions. So we do have some like sports type activities during the after school program, but to be involved in sports, that is our athletics department. We do offer athletics as a period during the day. Most of our sports teams, it's like a period 4 class.
Para contestar alguna de las preguntas, para las actividades, nosotros tenemos el departamento de atletismo, que es un periodo, que es periodo 4, que sus hijos pueden inscribirse en ese periodo para que ellos puedan tener estas actividades que quieren.
Okay, so again, if you're interested in ARC, it is free to all students. There is free tutoring. That's one of the most important things that ARC offers. And here is Catherine. She's our site coordinator. Here's the phone number for you and her email address.
Pueden inscribirse al programa, necesitan su permiso. Usted puede mandarle un correo electrónico, pero ayudan más en lo que es de tutoría y hacer sus tareas.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're almost done. I have one more slide of information, and then I'm just going to go straight to the questions. I know you guys have been patient. We are so appreciative of you spending your time with us. We had to extend our hours. We were planning to distribute schedules, but we're actually changing it. So you're going to see me change the slide right now. We're starting at 9 a.m. tomorrow. And that's because the lines have been a little longer than we would like. So we're adding an extra hour. And then we will stay there to give schedules until we get through our line. But it is 9 a.m. You do, we are hoping you'll bring your emergency card with you, but we'll still give it to you even if you don't have it done. The counselors are available. They will talk to you about their schedule change request. So if you need a different class, if you have a question about what is this, what is that, the counselors are available for you tomorrow. You can see them, and then we'll also have their email addresses for you if you prefer to email them. And finally, last but not least, we recognize that a lot of our 9th graders and actually almost all of our 10th graders have never actually been on campus before, and we don't want them to get lost. So we are offering campus tours, and we encourage you to join a campus tour group. The campus tours will be ongoing in small groups, and our leadership students, our our volleyball students, our cheerleaders, they'll all be offering tours tomorrow.
So, para los horarios de nuestros estudiantes del 9º grado, mañana en lugar de empezar a las 10 de la mañana, vamos a empezar a las 9 de la mañana porque nuestras líneas han sido un poquito más largas. Los consejeros van a estar disponibles para cualquier pregunta que ustedes tengan. Además, les vamos a ofrecer sus correos electrónicos. Usted debe traer consigo la tarjeta de emergencia. Si no la tiene, le vamos a proveer una para que usted la llene y no la deje. Sabemos que los estudiantes del 9 grado y el 10 grado no han estado en la escuela, así es que ofreceremos unos de enseñar la escuela en grupos pequeños para que los estudiantes sepan en dónde están las áreas que necesitan o las clases que necesitan saber.
Okay, so I'm just busily typing away on the question. So again, this concludes our formal presentation. Again, I do encourage you to follow us on social media, to check the website all the time. I am going to stay on and answer some questions, but I just, again, want to thank all of you. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll stay on for questions, but otherwise, that's the end of the information we have to share.
En este momento es toda la información que tenemos que compartir. Sí, me voy a quedar en contestar algunas preguntas, pero para quedarse conectado, ahí está la información para cualquier pregunta que usted necesite saber.
Okay, so again, thank you so much. Good evening to all of you. Don't forget, schedule previews tomorrow. We'll give you a Chromebook. If you don't have a Chromebook yet, we do want all of our students to bring Chromebooks daily. It's not Zoom. We're not teaching through Zoom, but we have all this technology that's available to us, and we want to keep encouraging our 21st century learning skills.
Gracias por estar con nosotros. Mañana les vamos a ofrecer una computadora a los estudiantes. No lo vamos a ofrecer vía Zoom, pero como tenemos todo este equipo para ofrecer a los estudiantes, lo vamos a hacer para mantenernos en nuestro año o centenario 21.
So thank you so much. And I'm just going to start addressing some of the questions. So again, I'm going to share our email addresses here if you didn't get them, and the social media as well. So
Ahí está nuestra información si usted gusta tomarle una foto en la pantalla.
Okay, so there was a question about COVID test results. So it is a little tricky to find your COVID test results sometimes. One of the parents put a question in the chat earlier. It is very tricky. If you can't find it, just come by, and it's easier for us to walk you through it if we need to. But one way that you can check is go on your phone or your computer to dailypass.lausd.net. And in the top left-hand corner, there's 3 lines. If you click on those lines, you'll be able to see your COVID test results.
Si usted no puede mirarle los resultados de su examen de COVID, tiene que ir al Daily Pass y ahí hay 3 líneas o rayas que usted puede entrar y ahí le puede mirar usted los resultados.
Okay, Mr. Manocchio is correcting me. We had a typo on one of the slides, and it's like people keep asking anyway, so I'm just going to address it to the whole group. Apparently, basketball is a winter sport, so I'm deleting it. And to respond, yes, we do have a girls basketball team, and I don't know the coach's name because we are currently looking for a coach. We will have a coach by the time the girls basketball starts, and we're figuring that out actively.
Sí, el señor Manocchio está corrigiendo algunas cosas. Sí tenemos un equipo de básquetbol para las estudiantes, para las muchachas. Todavía no sabemos el nombre del entrenador. Estamos buscando un entrenador para el grupo de los estudiantes.
Okay, some of you are asking, why do I have 5 classes? What a great question, since we told you it's a 4x4. The reason is that PE has to be offered all year long. Students have to have PE all year long. So we have to kind of trick the computer a little bit so that we're able to show in the computer that you have PE all year long. So it's a little weird, but if you looks like you have 5 classes, it's because of the way the PE classes look, and we're going to explain it more during the first week of school.
Vamos a tener algunas preguntas, es porque tienen 5 clases y es 4x4. Tuvimos que hacer eso por, tenemos que, es un requisito que tenemos que enseñar que estamos dando el año de física, pero es algo que vamos a estar informándoles esta semana que viene.
Okay. Last semana, sorry, I'm translating and my Spanish isn't that great in some of these questions. Okay, so PE clothes will be available for sale tomorrow when you come, but you don't have to buy them tomorrow. The PE teachers won't be dressing probably the whole first week of class. You'll be able to buy the PE uniforms at the student store. They're always available for sale. And worst case scenario, you can also start PE. You'll just talk to your PE teacher about what to do if you don't have PE clothes, okay? It's not a problem. Just talk to your PE teacher when school starts if you haven't had a chance to buy the PE clothes.
Si usted no tiene tiempo de comprar el uniforme de física, los maestros no van a empezar física hasta la otra semana, y si no lo pueden comprar para ese tiempo, siempre puede hablar con el maestro y para que darle tiempo a su estudiante para que compre el uniforme.
Ms.
Okay.
McMurrin, there's a lot of questions about student IDs. I don't think they realize it's the same ID.
So just to clarify, so your district ID number stays with you throughout your entire LAUSD experience. So some people have asked questions about ID numbers. We don't give new ID numbers. Your ID number is the same at Grant as it was in middle school, but we will give new ID cards, and we do that usually during September. But if you're trying to log into the Daily Pass, use the same ID number that you've always had during the LAUSD.
Su número estudiantil del estudiante siempre es el mismo, de intermedio no cambia. Si vamos a dar tarjetas, que es para este año, y eso lo hacemos en septiembre.
Great. Okay, let's see. So I want to go back to some COVID questions because there's some COVID safety precautions people are asking about. So just to be clear, we have, one of the reasons we switched to the 4x4, and we actually have hired, I think, 8 additional teachers, not replacements for people who retired, but brand new positions. So one of the reasons we did that is so that the class sizes will be lower, so that we're able to balance classes and have smaller class sizes. So that's important. Also, every single classroom, every single office, every single place on campus is sanitized daily. We have added additional custodians to our crew, and they will sanitize every single desk, surface, everything gets sanitized at the end of the day. Certain spots called high touch spots, and that would be like in bathrooms, etc., they'll get sanitized more frequently. And I'm going to pause so Ms. Aldana doesn't have too many notes to take.
Sí, hemos agregado 8 nuevos maestros que no son de los maestros que se han retirado, no, que son nuevas posiciones para aminorar el grupo de estudiantes por clase, para que estén más pequeños los grupos en cada clase. Además, cada clase, oficina, cualquier área donde a los estudiantes o el personal toque bastante, van a ser desinfectados diariamente, también en los baños, todos los días.
So there are sanitizing stations throughout the campus. Each office has hand sanitizing station. We have hand sanitizing stations in the various buildings. Every single classroom, we have given hand sanitizer to every single classroom. Every single teacher has a box of masks, just in case if a student needs a new mask. We do want students to bring their own mask, but just in case something happens, we will provide a new mask for that student to replace it.
En cada clase, en cada oficina, en todos los edificios, tenemos para desinfectar las manos. También los maestros van a tener máscaras por si los estudiantes no traen su máscara de la casa o necesitan una nueva máscara, ellos van a tenerlas en el salón.
Okay, so a next question I want to get to, because I have now seen 2 questions like this, so I really, really want to be clear. If your schedule, because you're looking on Schoology, only says homeroom, then I want you to email me, and I'm going to put my email back up here so that we can get you your real schedule. Okay, there's some issues. So if you only show homeroom on Schoology as your schedule, just let me know, and then I'm going to get that to your counselor so we can get you programmed properly.
Si usted tiene, si su estudiante tiene nada más en el horario de clases homeroom en inglés, por favor, déjenos saber para que podamos nosotros corregir y darle las clases que necesita.
Okay. Okay, so let's see, I'm going to go to another question. We are not currently offering dance as a PE class. We have offered it as a class in the past. Currently, you can get involved in dance as part of our after-school program. We do have a Grant High School dance team. I'm going to put Catherine's email address back up here so you can email Catherine and let her know that you are interested in being part of our dance team.
Ahorita no estamos ofreciendo la clase de baile, pero el programa después de escuela sí lo está ofreciendo y para que usted pueda inscribir a su niño o niña en el grupo de baile.
Okay, so I want to be really clear because this keeps coming up. Mask mandates are a thing. If the student is not going to wear a mask, then the student is not going to be at our school. Classroom, it is enforced. Students must wear masks in the classroom. That is non-negotiable. If the student refuses to comply, the student will be removed for the mask, and then the student will be sent home if they still can't comply. Now, when people were coming the other day, like picking up materials and things, if they're standing outside in the line, it's hard for us to enforce if they're covering their nose with it. But in the classroom with the teacher will ensure that the mask is on properly, covering the nose, following all the protocols.
Acerca de las máscaras, sí, vamos a estarlos exigiendo de que tienen que ponerse las máscaras. En las clases, los maestros van a estar supervisando que cada estudiante se ponga una máscara. Eso no es negociable. Si el estudiante no quiere, entonces vamos a tener que mandarlo a casa por no seguir la regla. Además, cuando estén en línea mañana, muchas de las personas a veces se bajan la máscara y solo se tapan la boca. Les estamos recordando a cada quien que lo haga, aunque a veces no tenemos el 100% de control, que todos lo tengan.
May I add something? There is a question. It says, are masks required during PE? As of now, and I want to emphasize, as of now, both indoor and outdoor activities require that students and adults wear the masks.
Okay.
Ahorita está enfatizando que si los estudiantes tienen que ponerse máscaras para la física, el señor Melikian está enfatizando que sí, tiene que ser. Empezando hoy, el gobernador dijo que hay que ponernos las máscaras adentro y afuera en actividades, y eso vamos a hacer.
The only time the students are permitted to take their mask off is while they are eating outside, and they would be actively eating. There are so many of us, there are more than 20 of us who will be walking around constantly during lunch to ensure that students are wearing their masks outside. The district guideline is if they're not wearing their mask, they have to be it's because they're eating and they need to be 3 feet away. That's the guidance for the outdoors.
Ok, la única manera en que los estudiantes pueden quitarse su máscara es nada más solo para comer. Y durante el almuerzo vamos a estar enforzando de que ellos se la pongan. Vamos a hacer más de 20 personas supervisando todo el plantel y tienen que ellos ponerse la máscara. A menos que estén comiendo, no.
There is a question about what days are the schools doing COVID testing. It's important. You do not need an appointment. I spoke to Roy Romer Middle School today, and they said you can walk in. Sometimes the lines are kind of long, and I understand the parents' frustration, but Roy Romer is the closest in our area. The other the school, LAUSD school in our area is Panorama High School that offers COVID testing. I believe Romer is open 6 days a week. I'm not sure about Panorama. 5 days for sure. I can double check about Saturday too.
Can you double check, Mr. Malikian? Because
I
I
will.
don't have Panorama High School on the list. I
I
have
will.
them for vaccinations, but not for COVID tests.
Las
I'll check
escuelas,
on the updates.
Because they are adding new schools. Like today they added San Fernando Middle, for example.
Let me double check.
Okay.
las escuelas más cercas que tenemos es la Roy Romer y la Panorama. Roy Romer sabemos que es hasta los sábados. Panorama no estamos seguros. Vamos a chequear ahorita, pero puede ir no tiene que ser una cita. Estamos de acuerdo con ustedes que las líneas están largas, pero parece que han estado añadiendo más lugares para que se puedan examinar.
Okay, so again, just to emphasize, we will be issuing Chromebooks tomorrow. If your student needs a Chromebook, if your student doesn't have their own laptop, then they're going to need a school issued Chromebook, because we are not teaching on Zoom, but the teachers will be having students complete the work using the Chromebooks.
Se asegura que sus estudiantes traigan sus computadoras porque los estudiantes van a estar usando sus computadoras en la clase.
Okay, I have the information in front of me for tomorrow. There are several schools. Let me see if I can. East Valley High School will do the baseline testing in our area. Byrd Middle School, North Hollywood High School, Sun Valley Magnet, Victory Boulevard Elementary, Coldwater Canyon Elementary, Oxnard Street Elementary, Colfax Elementary School, and Carpenter Community Charter. If you live in our area, but the closest one, at least to Grant High School, is Roy Romer Middle School.
Sí, él mencionó varias de las escuelas que están examinando, pero la más cerca es Roy Romer para ustedes.
There's a question saying, so can I go to Romer any day? The answer is yes. Walk in. Again, depending on circumstances, the lines may be short or long, but yes, you can go to Romer between now and Saturday and stand in line. If you're a LAUSD student, you can be tested there.
No necesita cita para ir a Roy Romer. Lo puede ir cualquier de esos días antes que entre a la escuela a Roy Romer.
Mr. Malikian, did you just share the Saturday day places too?
No, I did not. I just shared what was open tomorrow.
Okay, so Saturday, Romer Middle School, Pacoima Middle School, San Fernando Middle School, and Panorama High School are open from 8 to 3:30.
So Panorama including.
And San Fernando, yeah.
So, de esos cuatro
San Fernando Middle.
que nombró Roy Romer, Panorama, Pacoima y San Fernando van a estar abiertas los sábados de 8:30 a 3 de la tarde. Usted puede ir sin cita previa.
San Fernando is middle school, not high school, okay?
I'm sorry, es la escuela intermedia de San Fernando.
Okay, so we are offering tours tomorrow. So I know how I feel about my own children who are in elementary school. Even in high school, we worry about them getting lost, right? So if you're not available to come to the campus tour tomorrow, or you don't have time to stay for the tour, then don't worry, because we're getting some questions about this. We will have a lot of people outside. Everybody will be outside on the first day, and we will help direct all the students to make sure every student is able to find their class. Right now, the schedules that we give you tomorrow are called program previews. There is no teacher name listed, and there is no classroom listed, because the only reason we're sharing it with you is so that we give you the right textbooks, and so you can focus on, do I have the classes I need? If you don't, that's when you're going to talk to your counselor. On Monday, we will have posted all over the campus signs telling you which room to go to and helping you to find that room. And when you're sitting in your period 1 class, you're going to get a printout. Okay. So if you're worried, we will, at each entrance, we will have the list of where all the different classes are. And there's so many people who will be outside helping direct students.
Ustedes padres como yo también estoy preocupada de mis niños que van a la escuela elemental y ustedes que vienen a la escuela de high school, pero vamos a estar dándoles los programas a los estudiantes previos. Vamos a estar ahí el lunes enseñándoles, dirigiéndoles dónde van a las clases. Vamos a ver bastante personal, vamos a tener copias para que los estudiantes miren a dónde tienen que ir y siempre ayudándoles a encontrar la clase que necesitan estar o llegar.
Okay, so I'm going to start closing things down. I just want to go over the questions, see if there's anything new that's been put. You don't need a negative COVID test result to go to campus tomorrow, but you do need one before the first day of school.
Necesita usted examinarse del COVID el primer día de clases.
Okay, let's see. How many 9th grade classes? Students should have 4 or 5 classes. Because of this weird thing with the PE and the way it looks on the 4x4, you probably have 5. If you only have 1 class on your schedule, I want you to email me so that I can get it to your counselor's attention, so that by the time you show up to pick up your program tomorrow, you'll have your classes already scheduled.
Tienen que tener 4 clases, pero por física y para llenar el cumplimiento del distrito, tienen que tener 2 clases de física, y si no tienen, por favor, déjenos saber para poder añadirle la clase que tiene que tener en su horario de clases.
Ms. McMurran, there were a couple of questions about ripped jeans, baggy clothing, and dresses.
So, you know, I don't want to say, yes, ripped jeans are totally fine, because sometimes they are very fine. But if they're revealing so much of your body that there's more leg than there are jeans, then that's not okay. Baggy clothes, as long as they're baggy, but they stay on you, that's fine too. If they're falling off and you're constantly having to hold your pants up to keep them from falling off while you're walking or running, then that's a sign that your clothes are too baggy. Dresses, yeah, fine. The guideline I want you to think about is it just shouldn't be revealing any parts of your body that are best remained private.
Ok, acerca de la vestimenta, claro que pueden vestirse con pantalones o jeans que les dicen un poco rotos, pero no a la exageración que se vea todo, porque hay unos que son muy altos y están revelando partes íntimas. También a la ropa floja, si no se les cae, está bien ponerse ropa floja con que no se caiga la ropa o los pantalones, es también aceptable. Los vestidos también, pero que no sean tan cortos y no estén enseñando todo, partes que no tienen que estar enseñando, porque hay vestidos muy reveladores de arriba o de abajo.
Okay, so a couple last things. You do need a negative COVID test in order to attend school on the first day of school. After that, you'll get tested at school. So you won't have to go through all this hassle and try to find a testing site. So right now, we need you to get your COVID test so that we have the results in time for Monday. But after that, they'll get tested at school.
Para el primer día tiene que tener el examen, tiene que presentar el examen, pero ya después no, porque van a ser examinados en la escuela para que no puedan, para que no tengan que, para la conveniencia de todos los estudiantes y no tengan que estar corriendo a otro lugar a hacerse el examen.
Okay, so again, our hours tomorrow, we expanded them. We are still accepting new students. If you know of any student who wants to enroll at Grant, you can invite them to come tomorrow. We'll still be continuing to enroll students. For freshmen, we would ask you to come between 9 and noon. You can get your textbook, you can get your Chromebooks, your program preview, and you can take a campus tour. If you received a Chromebook from your middle school, you should return your Chromebook to Madison, Milliken, Romer, or wherever you got it from, because we will be issuing you a Grant Chromebook. So please return it to your old middle school. Otherwise, you're going to end up getting a bill for it. Okay, so return your old Chromebook from middle school and get a new Grant High School one.
Si hay algunos amigos o familias que necesitan inscribirse a Grant, todavía tenemos sillas disponibles. Mañana extendimos el horario de 9 a 12 de la tarde. O hasta que terminemos los estudiantes, van a recibir sus textos, sus computadoras, su horario de clases. Si usted tiene computadoras que pertenecen a la escuela intermedia, por favor, regrésenlos y ustedes van a agarrar una computadora aquí en la escuela, porque lo contrario, van a terminar pagando esa computadora a la escuela.
One more thing, I understand there are some parents who express their frustration about wearing masks during exercise or PE, both indoors and outdoors. And regardless whether we agree with it or not, we're following the district and the CDC guidelines.
Hay preguntas acerca de que los estudiantes tienen que ponerse máscaras durante PE. Tenemos que acatar la política que nos están dando, y los estudiantes sí deben de ponerse sus máscaras cuando están haciendo física.
Okay, so thank you so much for joining us. It's now 7:32, so we're going to conclude this evening. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning.
Gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. Mañana vamos a terminar nuestra reunión y los esperamos verlos mañana. Feliz noche.
Okay, as we're going, I just want to point out all of the things we talked about tonight are specific, not just to the residential or comprehensive school, but it is inclusive for both magnets as well. However, if you have specific questions about how does the 4x4 look in the Humanitas magnet, or how does the 4x4 look in the CPDA magnet, I'll invite you to speak with your magnet coordinator or your magnet counselor. So again, for CPDA magnet, it's Ms. Caruso, and the counselor is Ms. Leaños. And for Humanitas, it is Ms. Comer, and your counselor is Ms. Mata. But everything we've shared tonight is applicable to the entire campus, including the 4x4 schedule and the fact that it is required to have PE year long.
Si usted tiene alguna pregunta acerca de las escuelas magnet, usted tiene que dirigirse a los coordinadores, pero toda la información que hemos ahorita compartido va a ser reforzada a todas las escuelas que tenemos.
Okay. Thank you so much, everybody.
Gracias por todo. Feliz noche.
Gracias.
Yeah, goodbye.
Good night.
Tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.